Hi all, I will try to explain recursion in today's video. I will use JavaScript as a scripting language because it's easy to use and everyone can use it. You only need a simple editor like Notepad. I will use Visual Studio 2015, but you can use Notepad and create JavaScript code and run it in browser. Today everybody have browser. So I will explain how to implement it, where to use it, and why to use it. For example, I will have two types of recursion implementation. One is simple, that anyone can understand, and second one is a little bit complicated, but you can understand it if you watch carefully. So what I need is one HTML file. I called it Recursion HTML. I need to create simple HTML document, head where I will put my script, and body just to have it. We will not need it in this example because I will write all result into browser console. I'm using Firefox and Firebug, its extension to run JavaScript or see what's happening inside the website. I will use console.log method to write something into console. So if I say hello, this is my console, and I press run, it will just write hello, this is my console, and that's it. So we have empty file now. What we need is to create a script tag with a type JavaScript. And first problem that I will try to solve with the recursion is if we have numbers from A to B, array of numbers, and we need to get sum of all squares. So if we have from 1 to 3, then we need to create functionality which will be equal to 1 multiplied by 1 plus 2 multiplied by 2 plus 3 multiplied by 3, and result will be 14, because 1 squared is 1, 2 squared is 4, that's 5, and 3 squared is 9, and 5 plus 9 is 14. So we need to create code to do that. Definition of recursion is a function, method, or block of code that can call itself. You need to be careful when implementing it because you can get dead loop if you don't implement it properly, because it can call itself all the time. But if you create a condition that will stop calling itself, then you are on the right way. So we need a JavaScript function with two parameters, A to B. I will call it recursion. A is first number of array, and B is next one. So we will use numbers from 1 to 3 in this example. So what do we need? We need to declare variable, and it will call result, and this variable is equal A multiplied by A, that's A squared. And what we need next number to add to this result. So this is where recursion comes into place. We will say result is equal result plus, we call our function again recursion, but now we pass A increased by 1 and B will be the same. So it will go to result. We'll create, if our first number is 1, we will set result to be 1 multiplied by 1, that's 1, and then we will say plus, call the method our method, but increase A by 1, so next A will be 2. Then we will put So next day will be 2, and then we will set result to 2 squared, and result will be 4, and then we will pass again. So in order to avoid dead loop or infinite loop that could break our script program, cause it to work badly, we will create condition and say if A is bigger than B, then just return 0. So when it comes to the end, it will just return 0, and our problem is resolved. In order to check this, what we need to do is just call our method, and we will say from 1 to 3, A will be 1, 3 will be B. So we can simplify this code. We don't need result is equal result plus recursion. We can do it by removing variable result. We can just say return A multiplied by A plus recursion A plus 1 to B. Okay. So this will calculate, and we will get the result 14. In order to see it, we will write it to console. Okay, if we reload our browser, we will see result 14. That's it. So we can change it to 5, and result will be 14 plus 4 squared is 16, that's 30, 5 squared is 25, that's 55, so result should be 55. And when we reload it, it's 55. We can also call it from this for test from Firebug console, so we can add instead of 5 we can add 6. It will be 91. We can change A to 3, so it will be 86, and that's basically that. This is a simple use of recursion, but it can be helpful to understand how to use it and when to use it. Next example is a little bit more complicated because we will have sample data, and we will need to loop through the data in order to write values that we want. So if you visited any portal, you could see that that portal has categories like sport, politics, news, and many other categories like fashion and stuff. So we need to create sample data. We will create an array called categories, and we need to push data into this array. So we'll say we will push new object. This is how you declare new object in JavaScript. You don't need to use a new keyword. You can just do it like this, and you set fields by typing name. We can call it sport. We can set its ID to be 1, and its parent ID is equal null. Null represents that this category doesn't have parent, it's top category. So we can add another category. We can call it politics, and its ID will be 2. Also its parent ID is null because it's main category. So in order to add subcategories, we will add, for example, football, set its ID to 3, and parent ID to ID of category sports. So ID of category sport is 1. So we say that parent ID is 1 for football. We can add another. Then we can add like tennis, and just change their IDs to be 4 and 5, and we can do same for politics. we can say local, like local politics. Its ID is 6, but parent ID is 2 because ID is of politics category is 2. Then we can create another for EU, for Europe, ID 7, same parent 2. Then world, then ID is 8, and that's our sample data. In order to loop through this data, we can use for loop and declare variable I is equal 0, so starting from 0 while I is less than category's length, and we will, for each iteration, we will increase I by 1. You should be familiar by for loop syntax. And now we will write name of category. Okay, so I first will be 0, then 1, then 2, then 3, and we will write its name because we set property to be name. We will access it like this, and now in our browser we should see all these categories written in separate line. So when we reload our HTML file, you see that sport, politics, football, basketball, tennis, local, EU, world, and that's it. And now you don't know that tennis is a subcategory of sport or local is a subcategory of politics, and this is the place where we use recursion. So we will just save this for loop for later. We will create another function called recursion. I deleted the previous one. It will have parameter data. This will be a categories array, and we will pass ID. ID will be of the current category that we are searching for. First, when we first call our method, we will pass null as ID because we want to write categories with the parent ID null as first. So we will say okay, now what we need to do is use that for loop that we write before, and for each item we check if current category that we are looking, its parent ID is equal to the ID that we pass as an argument to a function. Just change to data is equal to the parent ID of current category. We will write it to console. So okay, so for example we will get same results as before, just it will be sport, then football, basketball, tennis, but then politics, local, EU, world. If we call it recursion, pass data will be categories and ID will be null. So now we will get just sport and politics. Sport and politics. But we need all of them, so we will call our method again. We will pass same data, but instead of null that we passed here, we will pass ID of a current category that we are looking at. So we will say data I, index I, ID. So the ID, when we call again our function, will be ID of sport first time, and it will search through this category and search for every category where parent ID is equal to ID that we passed. In this case it will be football, basketball, tennis, and on a second loop it will go to politics and will search for all subcategories with the parent ID 2. So that will be local, UE, world. That's it. So this is what we do and what we can Now we will see the result will be sport, football, basketball, tennis, then politics, local EU world. If we reload this page, you will see sport, football, basketball, tennis, politics, local EU world. And now what we need to separate them, because still we don't know that football is a subcategory of sport. So we will implement another argument, call it separator. So inside console we will say first write separator plus category name, and on a first call we will just pass empty string, so we don't get any separators for main categories. But in a second call we can pass tab, special character for tab letter, so text will be indented. Okay, so when we reload this, we will see that it's everything as it should be. So now we know that football and basketball and tennis are subcategories of sport. And if we implement another category, for example, for basketball, we say NBA ID is 9 and parent ID is not 1, it's ID of basketball, it will be 4. We will get same results, but NBA will be after basketball. But we need to indent this also, so we know that NBA is subcategory of basketball. So we will just add here as when we are passing separator, we will say separator plus tab. So we will on first loop we will get just this, because separator initial value is empty string, and next time it will be tabulator when looping for basketball subcategories. It will add another T to it, so it will the result will have 2 tabs in front of it. So now when we reload our page, we will get NBA. So the same for NBA, we can, for football we can say okay, we can say Italy, like Italy country, and this is 10, and football parent ID is 3 because football ID is 3. We will get that. We don't need to change our code anymore, and we will see that football got category Italy. Italy can have another subcategory called Serie A, and we will say its ID is 11, but parent ID is 10 because Serie A is subcategory of Italy. So we can do this, and you will see that everything is indented as it should. Okay, so that's all. If you have any question, please ask in comments below, or if you have any problems, I would like to share my knowledge or learn something new so I can present it in a next video. In order to support me, just subscribe and give thumbs up. Thank you.